Well, boxing fans, it all seems to be going wrong for linear heavyweight champion Tyson Fury. A few years ago, he was popular, he had the world at his feet, he was coming off that terrific victory over Deontay Wilder. His redemption story was fantastic. He was basically a sporting hero. But over the last 18 months, the wheels have really fallen off. It's gone really wrong. The question is, why? For years, Fury got away with some controversial statements and actions both inside and outside the ring. He was criticised for both being homophobic, sexist, anti-Semitic. But when he made his comeback, all of this was forgotten by the British public due to the absolute awesomeness of it. However, since his second fight with Wilder, his competition has been extremely poor. Dillian Whyte was outclassed and everyone knew he would be beforehand. And then things got even worse when he fought Chisora for the third time. Nobody could convince me that that was a competitive fight. Fury had picked apart Chisora with ease in their second fight. He was levels above him. It was an awful, awful match. Meanwhile, the fights that the British public wanted, Fury against Joshua and especially Fury versus Usyk, kept falling through. The apparent reason that these fights were falling through was Fury's greed, especially in the case of the Usyk bout, where it just didn't make any sense, the split he was asking for. And when Usyk accepted, the fight still never came off. With Joshua, Fury could say, oh, it was contract negotiations not going right. But when both the Usyk and Joshua fights fell through, all fingers were pointing at Fury, and rightfully so. And questions started to get asked. Was Fury afraid to fight Usyk? Did he need to make as much money as he could beforehand because he knew that he wasn't capable of winning the fight? It certainly started to look that way to a lot of people. Then, eventually, the fight was signed for December, and it had absolutely no fanfare because no one actually thought it was going to happen in December. Nobody had any faith that that fight was going to happen. So instead, Fury squares off against Francis Ngannou. Ngannou, UFC heavyweight champion, big puncher, no professional boxing experience. The boxing fans think it's another soft fight, another mismatch, another money-making scheme, kind of like his ventures into the WWE out in Saudi Arabia, just a show, just a pantomime, and boxing fans were getting increasingly angry. So come fight night between Ngannou and Fury, it becomes immediately obvious that Fury has not taken Ngannou seriously. And to be fair, who can blame him? Ngannou, although he's chiselled out of rock, has never boxed before. Fury is the heavyweight champion of the world. He's expected to win this at a canter. And instead, Ngannou proves to be very difficult. He's naturally very awkward. He hits very hard. He's a clever fighter. He's very, very strong on the inside. And owing to his martial arts background, he's a very effective grappler. Fury struggles from the start. He's dropped with a left hook in the third and only just gets over the line for a points win, in which was basically a case of him old manning Ngannou out the fight. It was a diabolically bad performance in an awful fight. And to the surprise of absolutely nobody, the December date against Usyk is postponed. Now, it seems to me that the problem with Tyson Fury is basically he's got too big for his boots. His fame has reached new heights, especially with At Home with the Fury show. He's an enormous amount of money. He's a sporting hero. Throw in his bipolar disorder, and suddenly you've got a bit of a problem here. Fury is obviously struggling to get up for his recent fights, and who can blame him? They are not in his class. But he's also so famous and so confident that he believes he deserves the lion's share of the fight, but not just by 10%, by even more. And the result is he's been on the shelf and his skills are deteriorating. He isn't as good as he was a few years ago. He isn't as sharp because he isn't fighting good fighters. And he's struggling to get motivated. However, that left hook that put him on his bum against Ngannou could be the best thing that's ever happened to him. If the Usyk fight does indeed occur early next year, he will be sharper. He will not be as complacent. He will be in better shape. And I believe that he will rise to the occasion, defeat Usyk, and prove himself to be the best heavyweight in the world. But boxing fans, only time will tell. And I am looking forward to seeing the next part of this journey. Please like and subscribe.